Ooh, pardon my ghostly appearance, but today we get to talk about a ghost story. Ghost story from the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Stay tuned. Boo. Alright, so Ghost Story, let's talk about it. This is the 13th book in the Dresden Files series. Now, I'm just going to put this out there. There will be spoilers for the Dresden Files in this video. So if you haven't gotten to this point in the Dresden Files, you need to go back and read up to this point. Dresden Files is just phenomenal. Absolutely love this book series. Ghost Story is no exception to that. What this story, it's right after Changes, which for me was an incredible, probably one of the best Dresden Files books. I will link the video to Changes down below in the description, so go check that out if you haven't already. And this takes place right after Changes. Now, I already knew the title Ghost Story was next after Changes, so at the end of Changes, and this is where the spoiler comes in, at the end of Changes, when Harry gets shot and killed, I knew that that wasn't the end for Harry, because Ghost Story, I knew it was going to be a story about Harry and his quote-unquote afterlife and what happens to him. So this was just, I knew it was going to be about Harry, but I had no idea how it was going to pan out throughout this book series. But basically, Harry goes into this state of somewhere in between the afterlife and in between, you know, going on to heaven or hell or wherever, and you know, his actual life. So he's kind of stuck in this position where he's sent back to the mortal realm of Chicago in order to help his friends and find his killer, to figure out what went wrong and why and how he ended up dying. So it literally is a ghost story, the ghost story of Harry Dresden. So he's shifted off to help his friends as a ghost, but he's intangible. He can't feel anything, he can't pick anything up, he could barely even communicate, and only a select few people seem to be able to hear him. So he goes and finds his friends that are like experts in the ghostly realm and who communicate with ghosts in an effort to try to help his friends. But of course, like anything Harry Dresden, it doesn't go the way he planned. It doesn't go the way he wanted things to go. So he's stuck trying to relearn his magic, basically relearn a whole different type of magic so that he could gain some semblance of his powers back and be able to help out his friends in dire need. At least he thinks that's why he's been sent back. That's why he's been told that he's been sent back. But of course, things with Dresden are never as they truly seem, and this kind of where things kind of get all mixed up and crazy and nuts and insane. And there's just so much good to say about Ghost Story. It's just awesome. You know, there's these new kind of character mindsets that are put forth. Not necessarily new characters necessarily. There is the Rag Lady, which I won't spoil who the Rag Lady is. You'll just have to read and find out. But you know, it is a character that we know from the series, so I won't say who the Rag Lady is. But the Rag Lady is basically gone insane without Harry around, and she is out basically wreaking havoc in the streets of Chicago against all kinds of bad things, against the bad guys in the streets of Chicago. So Harry's kind of got to work with the Rag Lady and his other friends to try to bring some semblance. Essentially what happened is at the end of Changes, when the Red Vampire Court was completely destroyed, it left this massive power vacuum from what the Red Court previously had, and every bad guy in every conceivable way is rushing in to fill that void and take over the power vacuum that was left over as a result of the destruction of the Red Court. So like typical Harry Dresden, everything he does, every time he thinks he's doing something right, he thinks he's getting something better done, it blows up in his face, everything goes to hell, and it's just, nothing can seem to stay just normal and chilled with this guy, which is part of why I love him so much. It's part of why Harry Dresden is such an amazing character. The character work in the Dresden Files is just phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for a better wizard or a better urban fantasy tale than we get in the Dresden Files, and Ghost Story is absolutely no exception to this. I loved every aspect of it. I loved everything about Ghost Story. It was just phenomenal from start to finish. Like every Harry Dresden book, there's always something exciting happening. There's always something crazy going in. I mean, one of the just best scenes, in my opinion, but my way, is Harry being swarmed by like these cannibalistic ghosts who are devouring his ghostly essence. And it's just like, whoa, cannibalistic ghosts, where the heck did that come from? That was just insane. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I cannot think of a single thing about this book that I didn't love. It's no surprise people on BookTube are going nuts about the Dresden Files. Just wow, I'm not even caught up yet. This is just Ghost Story. There's still more to come. I've still got to get, Peace Talks and Battleground. Those books are already out. I haven't got them yet, but I will be getting them. You can bet I will, and you can bet I will be reading them. But at the end of the day, the Dresden Files is just amazing. Now, one of the things that I really liked about this book as well is at one point, it kind of hinted that Harry was going to get his body back, that he wasn't going to stay a ghost forever, and that he could get his body back. Now, when that kind of hint was dropped, I thought, oh, okay, cool. Maybe his body's sitting somewhere in cold storage somewhere, or, somehow his friends retrieved and preserved his body for some reason, and that Harry would eventually figure out where this was and what happened to it. Or one of his unknown allies saved his body, and he basically would repossess his body and come back to life. This is kind of what I expected to happen with how he got his body back. But it didn't happen that way. Again, I'm not going to spoil how it happened, but how it happened, it kind of, in one sense, it surprised me because it didn't happen the way I expected it to happen. When the hint was dropped, I knew it was going to happen. I had a feeling he wasn't going to stay a ghost forever because of the other books that were coming out, that he eventually wouldn't still be a ghost. But how it happened was just completely different than how I expected it to happen. So kudos to you, Mr. Jim Butcher, for doing that and just really surprising me in how that happened. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. At the same time though, and I have to emphasize, at the same time, I wasn't totally surprised that that was the way it happened. I just had expected it to happen differently. Although how it happened itself wasn't that big of a surprise. And so, all around, fantastic read. Fun, entertaining, fast-paced, just everything about this book was just amazing. And I absolutely loved every aspect of it, and I would highly recommend Dresden Files to anybody. Like, let's be honest, it's just amazing. It is a badass wizard that kicks some serious magical butt. We've got werewolves, we've got demonic demon ghosts, cannibalistic ghosts, we got these raves and demented, tortured, insane souls. We've got, Rag Lady wreaking havoc against the magical world in the streets of Chicago. We've got ex-rogue cops. We got all kinds of crazy, crazy stuff. And it's just fun all around. And if you haven't read the Dresden Files, you really need to pick up the Dresden Files and read it. You really do. Seriously. Pick it up, read it. You won't regret it. I promise you that. One of the really cool things about Harry having to relearn his magic is that his magic is now effectively powered by the force of his memories. As a ghost, he's like a shade, a memory of the person left behind. So his entire magical aura, his magical powers, has to be formed through the strength and power of his individual memories. And this is kind of part of where we got into the whole thing of Harry having to relearn magic. It's a completely different type of magic than Harry was originally accustomed to. So he's having to use his memories to form these magical weapons in order to fight off these horrible magical demonic creatures. The Corpse Taker being our main villain in this book. The Corpse Taker being kind of this ghostly essence that possesses and takes control of magic users to build her strength or his strength. We don't know. Corpse Taker takes anybody can get a hold of. So we don't actually know whether it's a he or her or what's going on with that. But the Corpse Taker is being the main villain in this particular book. So we've got Harry having to use his powerful magic memory, or memory magic, in order to fight off the corpse taker, to rid the world of this threat, basically, that has come about as a result of the whole power vacuum left by the Red Court. So that was just fun watching him trying to figure out how to form his memories into a cohesive power structure to allow him to utilize the magic necessary to win the day in the end, where he has to kind of force himself to manifest in some physical form, and it takes so much energy and strength, because as a ghost you don't have the power, the strength, or the energy that you had while you were alive. One other aspect that I thought was really super cool and just fun. One thing you'll notice with the Dresden Files is there's so many pop culture references spread throughout the series in every single book. In this one particularly, like, we even referenced Discworld and some things that Terry Pratchett has put into his Discworld books. But one of the things that I really liked, that I thought was cool, is this one scene where Harry's kind of inside Molly's mind, and everything is on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise from the original series, and Molly's kind of commanding a battle sequence in her mind on the bridge of the Enterprise, which I thought was just really cool because, well, I'm a super big Trekkie. So that was just awesome. I really liked how that played out, and the different, Helms Molly, Science Officer Molly, Captain Molly, and Harry Dresden kind of there having a conversation with all these different Mollys on the bridge of the Enterprise, and talking about fire your weapon here and shields there, and just it was just really cool. It was just really cool. You have to read it to get it. In fact, you have to read the whole Dresden Files. Loved everything about it. Just awesome. Highly recommended. Go read the Dresden Files. 5 out of 5 stars for Ghost Story. Just amazing. Really loved it. And I'm going to continue to read the Dresden Files, and then I'm probably going to go back and reread the Dresden Files because it's so worth it. So definitely check it out. Absolutely love this book. Love everything Dresden Files. By far, best urban fantasy ever written. So there you go. There are my thoughts on Ghost Story. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You could join me on my Discord server. I will have that linked below. You can also support me on Patreon. I've got 3 tiers there where you get to pick my next read from my to be read pile, where you can pick the next book that I buy. Shout out in the credits, just general support if you want to. Check it out. That'll be linked below. No obligation, of course. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you have. Thank you for liking if you have. Or just thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Until then, keep on reading. Bye!